What's up, beer drinkers? How y'all doing this week? Oh, we got a great show for you again this week. Sorcerer Chromatic is back, and he regales us with his time at the NFC Divisional Playoffs between the 49ers and the Green Bay Packers. We also have the Coach's Corner, the final installment of the 2023 Coach's Corner, and a couple look-aheads to next season's Coach's Corner. Yeah, it's a football heavy show, but we also talk about beer. We do drink and review some delicious beers, and yeah, no beer news, just Coach's Corner and a recap of the football game. And I might have been a little bit drunk towards the end. I did have a stout from Dark Sky, so I was feeling it by the end. Plus, I'd been drinking all day watching football. So, I was having a good time by the end of the podcast. I hope you caught some of my other shows, especially last week, live from the Copper State Beer Festival. That was a lot of fun. And I have another Tap That Takeover beer conversation coming up next weekend. So that'll be coming out shortly thereafter. Don't forget to follow us on Untap and Instagram. Search Cold Brew Podcast and friend us and we'll friend you back. But right now, it's time for another Cold Brew. Coming at your pre-recorded from Cold Brew Studios. I am Greg. He is Sorcerer Chromatic. And we are back with Cold Brew Podcast. How you doing this week, man?
Oh, I'm up there, man. It's been a great week.
You know what? I'm very disappointed that you can actually talk today.
Oh,
that you don't have you don't have laryngitis.
No, but my voice is actually better. I don't know if you could hear. I still got some shotness, I guess. Yeah.
I can, because I know you very well. Like, I've known you over 40 something years now, so I can tell just a little bit. But yeah, you're coming in loud and clear.
Oh.
Anyway, all right, let's get to the beers. Let's get to what the show is all about. I have, by our good friends up in Flagstaff, Arizona, Dark Sky Brewing Company, I have their Turbulence, which is an imperial stout with added Ethiopian coffee, vanilla, and cinnamon. Coming in at 10% alcohol by volume. That's pretty much all I have on this beer. They put this out every year around this time, and I've had this one before, but I haven't had this year's, and I don't think I've ever had it on the show. So, without further ado, pop off. So what do you got?
I have, from our friends down at Humble Sea Brewing.
Ooh.
I have their Humble Sea Hell.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, you know what? Humble Sea is out here these days, but I've only had like their Socks and Sandals and their Nar IPAs. So I haven't seen their Hells yet. So that's cool. I'm glad you got their Hells.
Yeah. So real quick, Humble Sea Hells. It's a fitting 4.90% ABV.
Right.
Double decocted.
Sure.
All right.
Sure.
Naturally carbonated, horizontally lagered Munich Helles. Tasty notes are lemon blossom, water cracker, and crisp. Available in 4-pack.
Water cracker.
And without any further, without any further, like I've had that enough to know. Right. Well, without any further ado, pop off.
All right, so this Imperial Stout's really good. You would never think it's an Imperial Stout because it pours very light. It's almost like a root beer or cola coloring. It's almost like a dark brown. Like, even when you poured it, I was waiting for it to come out like a viscous oil, like used oil type color. But no, this is more like a dark brown. But when you drink it, it does have like a very heavy mouthfeel. There's a lot of cinnamon and vanilla in this. It's not very sweet though, as far as like a dessert style. But in the after the finish, it has a lot of the sweetness to it. But the up front, there's not a lot of sweetness. So it's weird. Like I'm waiting for that dessert stout type of flavor. It doesn't hit me right away, but in the finish it's there. It's very I like it. I do like it though. Perplexing, I guess, is the word I'm looking for. How's your beer?
Well, corn, I poured it and it settled. It's the color is very light, on the lighter side. Still not surprising for hell. It's not like gold or anything. It's almost like a lighter amber, or like not lighter amber, but a deeper gold. Not like hay or straw, but the leaning towards the copper hues. It is super crisp, super smooth.
Mm-hmm.
And very tasty. I do get some of that, like I guess what they're talking about, that lemoniness, but it just more of a citrus tart, like, because it's not lemony enough, but it's zesty enough. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah,
because it could be the tartness of like similar to orange or even grapefruit. So yeah, it's more of a citrusness, and I'm not sure about that water cracker. I'm fresh out to reference.
I was just about to ask you. Oh, that's so great. I was trying to tell tell my daughter about what I was tasting, because I asked her to. I grabbed the Firestone Walker assorted the recent variety pack, and my daughter likes to pour a beer and see if I can guess what it is. And I was trying to vocalize or tell her like what I was tasting, and I was trying to tell her about citrus and how like it can kind of taste juicy, but it can also taste like the zest, like the peel. So I don't know if she gets it, because but I totally understand what you're saying as far as the beer you're drinking.
Cool. But yeah, it's a very enjoyable.
All right, so we will rate our beers later during our Untapped portion of the show. So follow us on Untapped, search Cold Brew Podcast, and friend us, and we'll friend you back. But right now, it's time for my favorite part. This might be the last one for this season. Coach's Corner 2023, if you can call it that. So how we doing on the Coach's Corner, man?
Okay. Well, I think we left off week 16. Am I right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was like a little bit later than we usually do it, but it wasn't the end of the season yet.
Right. Picking up with your boy, next door neighbor, borrowed some edge clippers, never returned them. Jonathan Gannon at the Arizona Cardinals. All right. Well, going in week 14, they actually had a bye. I think it was probably like the last week of buys in the season, right?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Them, I want to say the Panthers. They were the only two that week.
So then week 15 is when I went out there for the San Francisco game, where they lost 45-29. The Cardinals lost 45-29.
Yeah, right.
And then they ended up losing at Chicago 27-16. But then they pull off that win. That win that a lot of Niner fans were grateful for. They beat Philly 35-31.
Well, that was the week I actually bought my plane tickets to the because I figured at that point the Niners might host the championship game, and that's why I'm going next week. So keep going.
Sweet. And then they ended the season with a loss to Seattle, 21-20.
It was close. It was a fucking close game.
Yeah. So overall, Gannon pulled out a 4-13 record. Although, the Cardinals played the Niners hard. I could attest to that as much as I followed them this year. Like, Granted, the game did open up, but they were they pulled off some big runs that made us scratch our heads about our defense a little bit. Being susceptible to get gashed like that. Connors is a he's a hard runner. He's a big dude too.
And I think the Cardinals getting Kyler back halfway through the season, they kind of helped too.
Yeah, I mean Kyler's got to get a feel for being back out there.
Yep.
But definitely not taking him lightly at all in years to come.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on to Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos. Let's see. They on week 14 they beat the LA Chargers 24-7. Then they lose to Detroit 42-17. Then they lose to New England at home 26-23. Then they turn around and beat the Chargers again 16-9.
Yeah.
And then they end up losing the last game of the season 27-14 at Las Vegas. So Sean Payton is back at 9-8. And I know for sure his the last game they benched Russell Wilson, but did they bench him the week before?
I think so. It was like the second to last week.
Yeah, so what it is was
Right.
Russell Wilson. Yeah, Russell Wilson's salary guarantee was if he was still on the team in March, so in a few months still on the team, he had I want to say like $38 million, which is going to be his cap figure, and on top of that, if he got hurt, he would also a medical clause would kick in for like a guarantee of $37 million. So reading between the lines, they were trying to recoup some money, and he's basically telling them no. So they told him to sit the bench and have a nice day.
Hey, but I know this is Coach's Corner, but if up to you, like any other team in the league, who would take Russell Wilson?
No, they're already talking about him going to the Steelers.
Okay, yeah, maybe.
I mean, they need a quarterback.
Yeah.
Atlanta needs a quarterback.
Right.
Tennessee needs a quarterback. In my mind, in my humble opinion.
Yeah.
I know they got some young
Levis,
guys.
yeah.
Yeah. However, I don't know. I think a lot of young guys are crowned too quickly.
Yeah, true. Levis has a lot of skills, but yeah, he doesn't have the pedigree. I don't think.
Right.
All right, who's next on the Coach's Corner?
Next, Frank Wright didn't finish the season. He was fired week 13.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Tabor took over. Just real quick, I'm not sure if we covered him. He lost week 13 to Tampa 21-18. Then they lost at New Orleans on week 14 28-6.
Mm-hmm.
Then they win. They beat Atlanta 9-7. Oh shit, 9-7.
Yeah,
and then
that's not a feather in your cap, even though it's a win.
Then they lose to Green Bay 33-30. Then they lose at Jacksonville 26-0 and lose to Tampa Bay at 9-0. Yeah. So Tabor finished the season 1-5. Frank Wright finished the season 1-10. So 2-15 for the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, which gives the Chicago Bears the number one pick in the draft, because of the whole
trade
field. The Bryce Young trade. Do you think the Bears will draft number one? Or do you think they'll trade down?
As of now,
yeah,
I would think they're listening to phone call. I don't think they're out there shopping the pick.
Yeah,
I think they're waiting on their way.
That's a good assessment. If you being the GM, would you? What would it take for you to trade that pick down?
I mean, it would take somewhere up there with the what you call trade, the Trey Lance trade. Tell you that much right now.
Yeah.
So it'd be like not just the one swap this year, but 2 additional ones, because you have to be wary that this. I think the guy that they would do it for would be that Harrison Jr. guy. And to draft a receiver, yeah, that guy I listen to, Mike Lombardi. He always talks about Wash's philosophy is about drafting receivers is that should be the last thing you worry about. Like everything else should be taken care of because the receiver is such a dependent position, right? You need number one, you need a quarterback. Number two, you need
the line,
a line
protect
to help
them,
him. Stay upright. Yeah. Number three, you need a running game to off balance the passing game, and then number four, you get the receiver who receivers are known for being vocal when they're not happy. So you got to be able to keep that. If you keep him happy right away, and that's all he knows, and he's gonna shut up.
Yeah, he's not gonna be like throwing vague references after the game.
So what I'm saying is, someone going after Harrison Jr. would be would be a team trying to make a playoff run. I don't ask which team right now I would name, but I'm just saying that you got to figure that the number one picks you're getting are coming, after pick 20. So you're gonna need something else on top of that too. So I'm talking 2 extra firsts and maybe 2 extra seconds. You know what I mean?
Yep, I like that. But even if they can't get Harrison, I think Odunze is a good second receiver on the board.
Okay, I'm not too familiar with him.
Washington, he looked excellent. Penix couldn't get him the ball during the
that I know who you're talking about now.
Yeah.
Okay. For as much as I followed Washington, I've seen enough highlights where he was on the screen a few times.
Yeah. All right. But we're talking about NFL coaches. Who's next on your list?
DeMeco Ryans. DeMeco, let's see, week 14, lost to the Jets 30-6. Then a win at Tennessee 19-6. And then a loss to Cleveland 36-22. Then a win for Tennessee at home 26-3.
Yeah.
Then a win at Indy 23-19. Putting him at 10-7 overall. And I believe did they win the South?
Yes, they did, because I had a bet for them to win the South, and they did win the South.
All right. Yeah, good for him. I mean, and then they won. They put on a clinic against Cleveland.
They did well. I mean, they like you said, they beat the Cleveland Browns, who I had money on because I didn't think Stroud could come up, and I figured Flacco was like the better quarterback. And hey, prove me wrong, right? And he proved me wrong. Stroud, that guy's amazing. Like the Carolina's got to be kicking themselves for picking Bryce Young over C.J. Stroud right about now.
No, and giving up what they did to get him as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. You're right. And credit to DeMeco Ryans. He should be a candidate for Coach of the Year.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Anyway,
you know what else though too? It's like they had 2 top 5 picks, right? They picked the quarterback and then they picked the defensive end. So they're building the fast now. I'm not saying that they can't get better next year. Just draft wise, they're gonna miss out on a first rounder. However, they obviously they were comfortable with that. So I don't know. Looks like a good deal. It's kind of like the whole build the team. You need a quarterback. You need to protect the quarterback, and then you need to sack the other team's quarterback. Well, they already got 2 of the 3 down, and
right.
could build the O-line's a 5-man unit, so you're gonna get those guys in the later rounds too. So
yeah, and it's fun. And as fun as they look, they might be an appetizing destination for a free agent next year.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. All right, who's
definitely
next?
Too. Shane Steichen, the Indianapolis Colts.
All right, cool.
So, in week 14, They lost to Cincy 34-14. Then they beat Pittsburgh the week after at home 30-13. They lose at Atlanta 29-10. Then they win at home against the Raiders 23-20. And then they lose at Houston 23-19, putting them 9-8 for the year.
Not bad.
Yeah,
Not bad.
Missed the playoffs, but their high pick quarterback was hurt. After 5 weeks?
Yeah, Richardson. Yeah, he looked great, but he just kept putting himself out there to be hurt like the first every single game.
Right. Moving on. Antonio Pierce, who those were the 5 original, and then I threw Tabor in there, but yeah, Antonio Pierce no longer intern too. He did get the gig going forward, but he finished the season. Let's see, week 14, they lost to Minnesota 3-0. Then they beat the Chargers 63-21. That was a crazy game.
Yep.
Then they beat the Chiefs 20-14. And then they lose to Indy 23-20. And then they beat Denver 27-14. Putting Pierce 5-4 for the season. Isn't bad.
No,
and,
winning record.
Yeah, definitely a resume to build off of. So see how it goes.
Did he get the job?
No, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Like I have a list on here, and they have him filled in. I did not hear that. I don't remember that headline, but good for him because he loves that fucking team, and the team loves him. So yeah, why not go with it? Why not keep rolling? Right? They're Vegas. You roll with the hot hand.
Right, and what you call it? It'd be ironic where the way they lost that Bisaccia guy. I mean, that Bisaccia guy got him in the playoffs. And,
the pit boss, yeah.
They let him go. It's kind of like they're great at hiring interim head coaches. It's not regular.
Right? Yeah. No, this Antonio Pierce looks fucking amazing for them, for the Raiders. I wish them well. I don't hate the Raiders. I know a lot of our friends back in the Bay Area, because the Raiders came from Oakland, they're Raider haters. I've never been a Raider hater. I don't think you have ever been a Raider hater. But at the same time, what?
I used to go to games a lot.
Just
to hang out. I mean, yeah. I just want to see a football game, but yeah. I mean, I have nothing against them.
Yeah, exactly. So I wish them well. But if we ever meet in the Super Bowl, fuck you.
Yeah. I think this is the first time ever we're gonna have that. The interim head coach.
Yeah.
Is he going to qualify for coach's corner next year?
Oh, that's a good point. That's up to you. We'll talk about it in the offseason.
Yeah. We have to go back in the archives to see if
in our archives.
I'm pretty sure it never happened.
Nope. I think you're right. I think you are correct. So at this point right now, on my list, these are the vacant head coaches. Atlanta.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Quick. I know I read Tabor, but then Give Smith took over in the Chargers.
Oh yeah. That's right. My bad. Keep going.
Yeah. He finished the season 0-3. Losses at home versus Buffalo, 24-22. Then a loss at Denver, 16-19, and then a loss at home against KC. 13-12.
So close. But that was week 18. Like, Casey was resting a bunch of people.
What? They couldn't better their position?
I don't think so. I think they couldn't get like one. They couldn't get the first position, so who cares at that point?
True. All right. Well, that does it for the gauntlet of coaches. So we started with 5, ended with 8, and
as far as I'm concerned,
there's gonna be 8 openings next year, right?
1, 2. 8? Yeah, I was about to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 8 openings. But Pierce has already got the job for the Raiders, and then the New England Patriots already named their next head coach, Gerard Mayo. So there's Washington, Tennessee, Seattle, LA Chargers, Carolina Panthers, and the Atlanta Falcons all have vacant head coaches. The Falcons have interviewed Belichick twice, and Harbaugh. And Harbaugh also, Jim Harbaugh, also interviewed for the Chargers head coach.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know. He's highly touted.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Especially after he finally won something.
Yeah.
Anyway, very cool. All right, we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Before we, you know what? Let's rate our beers right now, and I want to ask you something before we sign off. How's your beer treating you?
Good. Almost gone.
Nice. So you had by, was it New Balance? What's it called?
We'll see.
Humble.
New Balance.
My bad. You know what? I gotta give it up to Untapped, because they changed their app icon from a green back to their standard golden color. I don't know why the fuck they went to green. But that was a dumb decision. Whoever did that, like, they fucked it up. So you had you had Humble.
I bet there was a drop off in usage because people didn't recognize the app and didn't think to do it. You know what I mean?
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I think exactly the fucking same thing. Because I even talked about on the show. I'm like I couldn't find it for a second. I'm like, oh yeah, there it is. They should have done it for like St. Patrick's Day for that week and then switched back. But like they did it like right during the year. We are still on the 10th system, by the way. We didn't switch over till February. I paid for a year, so I'm just reminding you, like, when you rate your beer, just keep that in mind until the end of February.
All
right, so I have it right here. The Humble Sea Hells. What would you like to rate this at?
I give it a 3.9.
Ooh, wow, that's a good one. That's a hefty fucking rating there. What? Any notes?
Crisp, zesty, and clean.
Zesty and clean. Save and check in. Let me see here. Oops, got a lot of badges. Some of our friends have rated it. Sorry, excuse me. I'm a little bit drunk right now. I've been drinking and watching football all weekend. Right now it has an overall rating of 3.90. So you're right there. You're exactly the same as. Did you look this up?
Yeah.
All right. And one of our friends, Aztec77, gave it a 3.5. Not his favorite, but not bad. All right. So I had by Dark Sky, their Turbulence. I might have had this before. I don't remember. I've never had it on the show, so I cannot give you... I looked it up. I did not rate it, so I don't think I've had it on the show. This one's really good. Like I said, this one's perplexing because you would think an Imperial Stout would be like very strong, this one's kind of a little bit light on the tongue. It's not like it's not what you would call like a Hell's like you had, or even an Amber, or even a Porter, but it's a lot lighter than I would think an Imperial Stout should be. It's not sweet, but in the finish they have a lot of flavors that has some sweetness to it. So this one is very perplexing to me. I like it a lot. I'm gonna give it a 4.2. So let me see here. Turbulence Dark Sky. Oh, there it is. Turbulence Cinnamon Vanilla Latte. I gave it a 4.2. Overall rating 4.07. So I'm right there. I'm gonna give it a little bump, and I'm gonna say it is perplexingly great. Save and check in. All right, man. How was the game, man? Because I'll tell you, watching it from home. Well, those of you out there, we're talking about the San Francisco 49ers hosting the Green Bay Packers. Watching it from home, I was so nervous, man. I was nervous the whole fucking time. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Green Bay was ahead for most of the game. The 49ers were not performing as well on both sides of the ball as well as they could have. I know the defense really helped in the beginning because they kept it very close, but then they also gave up a bunch of like chunk yardage plays to like Aaron Jones. And I was on the edge of my seat. My daughter and I were watching the game, and she was making fun of me every time the Niners would score because I would I would jump off the couch and pump my fist or even jump in the air. And man, I could not believe I could. What were you going through? What were your feelings during the game?
Yeah, mine was just I was just anxious and like, why aren't we running more? Why aren't we running more? Just balance everything.
Yes.
You know?
Yep.
And like I saw this thing where like we always win when McCaffrey gets more than 75 yards this season.
Yes.
So just in like watching the count, I'm like, no, it's and even going back to last week, the Lions and the Rams, that was a dogfight, but the Rams stayed their course and they kept their running game. A lot of people think that's why they won, because they didn't blink, and that's why like, no, we're blinking, and then the special teams debacle, that big return, and then we even got gashed on a good run as well. It's just like, no, man, we can't do that. Same with the miscommunication. That guy was like wide open in
oh my god, yeah, the touchdown,
so stuff like that. But at the same time, the whole cliche field goals will get you beat. They started off settling for field goals in the opening drives, and even that turnover on downs, I think it was in the first quarter. It's like, wow. Yeah,
the second drive, I think.
That. Yeah. But yeah, and then I'm like, dude, where are the sacks? But then the interceptions happened, and it was crazy.
Look, let me ask you this, because I watched the game, and then at the end of the game, when Greenlaw intercepted the ball, I was just jumping up and down. I grabbed my daughter, I swung her from side to side, all that stuff. But I rewatched the game today. So I have YouTube TV, and they offer like key plays only. So I watched the key plays, and I saw Greenlaw's first interception. He tried to make something out of it. I'm like, oh yeah, I get that. Greenlaw intercepted the ball again. Number one, he stole interception from Fred Warner, because I think Fred Warner was the second receiver in that play at the end. The Jordan Love cross the body, across the field. Interception, and then he tried to make something out of it. I'm like, no, get down. Even though it was like a day later, I was screaming at him to get down. Were you like thinking that the same thing, or were you just thrilled that he even caught the ball?
Yeah, no, we exactly what you're saying is like we were celebrating and cheering and stuff like that. Then we looked up to see the replay again, and he's still running around the field. We're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck? Get the fuck down. If you go down, because like I guess it was he could have too. Like
the thing that really stood out was, he was still the play wasn't over, but he was still like roughly in the same spot. He was zigzagging. Like if he was running like breaking away, going for the end zone, then that's another thing too. But
like Navarro Bowman style, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I thought the same thing too. On the second watch, the first watch, I was just so elated that it fucking happened. It was such a great game. Even last was it last year or 2 years ago when we played the Packers in the divisional round and we beat Rodgers at home.
Well, no, that was the 2019 team.
Oh,
that
okay.
was the championship.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. You're right. Yeah, and I was watching with my daughter at her house, and I remember that game, and I remember this game. What in the last the last 10 years, the Packers are 0-5 in the postseason against the 49ers, right?
I believe so. Yeah, they showed 10 wins or 5. Yeah, the last 5 matchups is Niner wins.
Yeah, 0-5. It's so great because in the 90s, it was like you had no idea, and they'd beat us sometimes, and we beat them sometimes.
Right.
Anyway, so yeah, I'll be there next weekend. For those of you listening right now, I will be in the Bay Area probably as right now while you're listening to the show. So I can't wait, man. It's been a long time, man. It's been a long time since I've been to a Niner game of 3 years, I think. Been to a Niner game at Levi's. The fact it's going to be a championship game. Right now, as we are talking, the Niners are 7-point favorite over the Detroit Lions.
Okay, I didn't see the odds for it.
Yeah. Oh, dude, the odds were up even before the games started. Both. Whether it was Ravens Bills or Ravens Chiefs or Niners or Lions Niners Bucks, all the apps had odds up. But right now it's Ravens Niners Lions 7 points. But then again, it was Niners Packers 9.5. So if you had the Packers with 9.5, you would have won. How do you feel about next week? You think it's 7 points? You think I think it's a little bit high. To be honest, I think it should be Niners 4.5, 5. How do you feel?
Yeah, the thing about that is you hardly see 5-point differences, in my humble opinion.
Yeah,
how do you get a 5-point difference?
that's the Vegas zone. They don't want you to do anything either way.
Yeah, so that's basically saying they got to win by 2 field goals, right?
Mm-hmm. Or a missed extra point.
There you go. I mean, I hope we win. Just leave it at that. I'm not trying to throw negativity in the air to the other team. I mean, we got to play them and not worry about the odds or what should be done. We just got to go make it happen.
So a friend of mine asked me about the game because she doesn't watch a lot, and I said, and asked me about the Lions anyway. I said the Lions are good. They have a lot of good skill position players. They have Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's really good at the wide receiver position. Sam Laporta is an excellent tight end. They have two running backs, not just one, two, with Montgomery and Gibbs, and they have a decent quarterback. But they haven't faced a defense like the 49ers, and their defense can give up big plays and a lot of yards and touchdowns. So then I told her I would fade the Lions and go to the Niners by even a field goal. How do you feel? Is my assessment fair, or do you think I'm biased?
I don't know.
All right.
I'm not familiar with the Lions game that much. Like I said, I saw them not waver against the Rams. Cool. I mean, now you're splitting hairs now you got to compare our defense to the Rams defense. I mean, I do think we're a lot better. So on defense, at the same time, we didn't get any sacks last week. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right.
Is Jordan Love more elusive than Jared Goff? I don't know. Maybe not.
but the Niners didn't blitz a lot this game.
Right, but you don't need a blitz to get a
sack.
No,
no, you don't. You don't know. Wilkes drew up a good enough game to win.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right, man. Anything you'd like to add to this week's podcast?
Just go Niners.
Thank you. Couldn't say it better myself. Thank you for downloading yet again another Cold Brew podcast. I'm Greg. He is Sorcerer Chromatic, and we'd like to wish you cheers.
Till next time.